Our people always ask us, what are the nicest areas around Portland to live? And in this video, we're going to show you.
Get ready to break out the checkbook.
Stay tuned to learn more.
Hey, what's up everyone? This is Seth and Paul with the Home Team Brokers. Welcome back to the channel. And if you're new to this channel, living in Oregon, we show you what it's like to live in Oregon. We show you the lifestyle. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure and hit the subscribe button, tap the bell. That way you'll get notified each time we drop a new video. And if you're somebody that's thinking about moving to Oregon, as realtors, as much as we like making these videos, we'd love to help you move here. So you can call us, text us, email us. You can even click the link below in the description if you want to schedule a Zoom with us. All right, let's talk about the most expensive neighborhoods in the Portland metropolitan area.
All right, we got 13 of them. Number one on the list is West Linn.
Yeah, West Linn is probably one of the more desirable spots in the Portland metropolitan area. It's about 20 minutes south of Portland, sort of southwest on the west side of the river. You're gonna find a lot of different types of homes in West Linn. It's a pretty big area. There's maybe say 25,000 people I think that live there. You're going to find anywhere from early 1900s homes that were built over a century ago in Old Town West Linn, which is Willamette, all the way up to new construction, all the way up to mansions. There's a lot of really big homes in West Linn. They've got some of the best schools, low crime, really highly desirable area. Which draws in a lot of people, a lot of families as well too for the schools, which ends up giving you, larger homes, a lot of 4 and 5 bedroom homes, so it really keeps the price up there. So West Linn is probably one of the more desirable places in the Portland metropolitan area for people to move to.
What's the median sale price there?
It's going to be right now low 800s, kind of creeping up towards maybe the mid 800s. Price per square foot, about low 300s, 314 as we're shooting this. All right, number 2 on the list.
We got Bethany, which Bethany is definitely one of the more desirable neighborhoods or areas, suburbs in the Portland metro area. You're in Beaverton School District. You are bordered by Hillsboro on the west side. On the east side, you're bordered by like Cedar Mill, and then on the south side, you're bordered by Highway 26, and you get down into Beaverton. So this is an area that really feels kind of isolated. You are just bumping up against the urban growth boundary. It's a little bit of an island in that it's going to be a little bit less accessible to get to areas like downtown Portland. Even getting down into like central Beaverton, for example, could take 20-25 minutes depending on traffic, depending on how buried you are in Bethany. But people love Bethany because the area has been recently developed in the last 20-30 years. And because of that, everything just has a new, fresh feel. It has great amenities, sidewalks, parks. It's really popular for families, young professionals. There are quite a few apartments and townhomes, and you get $1 to $2 million homes as well. So there's a pretty good mix and variety as far as what you can get in the area. It's very scenic. You're kind of set on some rolling hills. Again, looking west, you're looking at the end of the urban growth boundary. So you're looking at farmland and undeveloped land. And if you look east, you're looking right into the West Hills, which are set behind downtown Portland. So
yeah, great spot, but yeah, kind of tucked away, right?
Yeah, very tucked away. Again, less accessible, but people like it for, again, all of the great amenities, and because there is a lot of newer construction, newer homes, things like that. It comes at an $815,000 median sale price, and the average price per square foot is $334. So you actually get a little bit less for your money. The houses might be a little bit smaller on average than compared to an area like West Linn, but that's a big reason why we look at that price per square foot number, is because not only can we look at what the median sale price is and how expensive homes are or how affordable homes are across the board, but also how much home are you actually getting. All right, next on the list we have Alameda, which is in northeast Portland, bordered by Grant Park to the south and Irvington to the west. A lot of this area is pretty consistent as far as nicer, larger, older homes, a ton of 100-year-old homes, a ton of 40s, 50s builds, not a ton built after that. So this is definitely like an old established Portland neighborhood right in the heart of Northeast Portland. You have access to some of the best restaurants in the city, breweries, shopping, all that good stuff. So it's a really popular area that has kind of an urban residential mix. The median sale price is $825,000 and the average price per square foot is $320. So, you know, I think the biggest difference with an area like Alameda and some other areas kind of in Portland proper that we'll talk about here, compared to like West Linn or Bethany, is it's much older. So, you know, a lot of kind of the amenities that you get with newer developed areas, you don't necessarily get in Alameda, but you get kind of those urban amenities that you don't necessarily get in some more suburban areas. So yeah. Alameda is a super popular spot.
Yeah, great spot if you want an older, charming, you know, probably updated, well-kept home that's larger too, in a good kind of centrally located spot for North Portland.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, if you look at kind of the immediate maybe 1.5–2 mile radius, you're gonna get a lot more variety as far as homes that have a lot more deferred maintenance, that are much smaller. Alameda, though, again, is very sought after because you do get these larger, much older homes, and in particular, homes like that have a ton of charm, and that's what, you know, a lot of people are looking for.
All right, next on the list we have Raleigh Hills.
Raleigh Hills coming in at $831,000 median sale price, about $320 price per square foot. Kind of right in the pocket of a lot of what we're talking about, but definitely a little bit of a different feel. So this area is in Southwest Portland, but you are actually bordered just to the west by Beaverton, and it's Beaverton School District. So it's unincorporated Washington County. It's part of this sliver on the west side of Portland, where you have like West Slope, Raleigh Hills, Garden Home, and then even down into Metzger, which kind of starts to bump into Tigard. There's this sliver, this area that's all unincorporated Washington County, but mostly Portland addresses, and you do get the benefits of Portland, but you also get the benefits of being kind of near a more suburban area. Yeah. And the property taxes are less too. So you get a Portland address with a Washington County property tax, which is definitely going to be some savings there.
Yeah, so just right smack dab in the middle, in between Beaverton and Portland. So Beaverton has a lot of amenities, great schools out in Beaverton. But you're still close to Portland, so I think a good spot for somebody that whether you work in Portland or kind of just want to have the amenities of Portland, but maybe be a little bit outside of Portland and kind of be out in the burbs a little bit. That's probably one of the better spots for people.
Yeah, this is probably an area that was like one of the original suburban areas for Portland. So you're just up and over the hill from downtown, and you have larger lots. You have a lot of homes that were built 100 years ago and in the 40s and 50s, but you do start to get some mid-century homes too, and some of the most celebrated mid-century homes in the Portland metro area as well. So, you know, a lot of mid-century homes, you know, are a little bit smaller, like ranches, 1,500 square feet. You get a lot of mid-century ranches in this area, like with daylight basements that are 2,500 up to 3,000 square feet. So, you know, not only are you getting kind of this, you know, charm of this era, but you can actually get a little more home in this area as well.
Yeah. I think that's the one thing I notice most about that area is if you're somebody that really kind of likes those mid-century ranches, because a lot of mid-century ranches around Portland are going to be like 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,500, 2,000 square feet, whereas in Raleigh Hills you could find those 4-bed or even 5-bed mid-century ranches that are 2,500, even 3,500 square feet. So for the type of person that likes that type of home, that wants a bigger home, that's a great spot.
Yeah, definitely draws a lot of people looking for that type of house.
Next on the list, Cedar Mill.
All right, we got Cedar Mill, which is connected to Bethany, but it's a little bit more up in the hills, so you get more elevation. And, you know, generally the West Hills, there's a lot of variety, but overall very desirable. Definitely higher concentration of wealth, higher, you know, home values across the board. And in this Cedar Mill area, you get some newer development in the last 20 or 30 years. You do get larger homes. So the average sale price, or median sale price rather, is $895,000. And the average price per square foot is $331. So if you look at that side by side with with Bethany, you're paying more, but overall you're getting more home for your dollar in this area. So this is going to be feeding into like Beaverton High School, Sunset High School, but a lot of this area does have a Portland address, and this is all unincorporated Washington County. Cedar Mill, though, does tend to be considered a neighborhood of Beaverton. All right, next on the list, we got Laurelhurst.
Back over to the east side of Portland.
Yeah, so this is a neighborhood on the east side. Burnside runs right through, and Burnside in Portland separates north and south. So some of Laurelhurst is in southeast Portland, some of it is in northeast Portland. And the neighborhood itself is anchored by Laurelhurst Park, which is definitely one of the most scenic, one of the most beautiful city parks in Portland. The median sale price is $910,000, and the average price per square foot is $319. So you're definitely getting a lot larger homes. This is another area where you have a ton of 100-year-old homes, 1940s, 1950s build, and you know, definitely one of the oldest, most established neighborhoods in Portland. My impression of Laurelhurst, as great as it is, as desirable and as sought after as it is, probably of the neighborhoods in Portland proper, of all of the ones we're talking about in this video, it's probably the area where you see the most funny business, if you will, on the street. Things like tents. I've definitely heard stories of people walking through Laurelhurst Park and seeing disposed needles on the ground. So
yeah,
it's a very beautiful park. It's a beautiful area, but it's, you know, it definitely is not without its issues.
And it's got a great Joan of Arc statue.
So another unique thing about Laurelhurst, though, too, is like most of southeast and northeast Portland is just purely on a grid. You know, like most cities are, but in Laurelhurst, the streets are all curved and kind of, you know, make like a big oval around the park. So it gives it a little bit of a unique dynamic and a little bit of a different feel than some other areas that you get in northeast and southeast Portland in particular.
All right, next on the list is Lake Oswego, which is very near to where we are right now. Average home sale in Lake Oswego is $952,000. Average price per square foot is $400 per square foot. So Lake Oswego is probably one of the maybe more familiar names if you're not from around here. A lot of professional athletes come to live here. Obviously, we have the lake, which is something that a lot of the nicest homes in the Portland area are built around. Great schools, low crime. They've got a great downtown, great energy. You're right next to Portland, but you're kind of out in the burbs as well too, so you kind of get that feel. And Lake Oswego is just one of the most desirable areas in the entire Portland metropolitan area. And we're picking the entire town rather than a particular place in Lake Oswego or a particular neighborhood. Lake Oswego is a pretty big area, but I don't know that it's easy to necessarily pinpoint a particular neighborhood in Lake Oswego because it's all nice, right? And so much of it is nice and so much of it is expensive too. So I think in this case, that's why we've picked an entire town rather than something smaller like a neighborhood or just a smaller unincorporated area.
Yeah, I think like per capita, as far as Lake Oswego is concerned, you're not going to get any area that is going to be really below or too far below this median sale price. There might be little pockets that you can pick out where you can get some relative affordability, but by and large, across the board, all throughout Lake Oswego, surrounding the lake, nice, big, beautiful, expensive homes. Probably the most desirable area to live by many measures for a lot of people. And very conveniently located. You're bordered by the Willamette River to the east. You have Southwest Portland to the north, but it's kind of separating Southwest Portland and Lake Oswego is this enormous park, Tryon Creek State Park. West Lynn's to the south, another great neighborhood or a great suburb that we talked about. And downtown Lake Oswego, I mean, has, you know, probably the highest concentration of great restaurants, bars, breweries, things like that of any suburb in the Portland metro area. So there's just so much to do here. It's beautiful, it's safe, and of course you have the lake.
Yeah, I guess if you had to pick one place that kind of has it all, it might be Lake Oswego. Lake, river, Tryon Creek State Park. You've got one of the biggest parks You've got a wide assortment of houses. There's not a ton of new construction, but you can find some. But you can also find houses that were built in the early 1900s, which are closer to like downtown Lake Oswego.
Yeah.
And because that area is so desirable, those homes have been kept up really well. So despite those homes being 100 years old, almost all of them are updated. They're in great shape. So it's tough to find a property in Lake Oswego that's not in good shape. And then the location too is great. I mean, it's if you look at Lake Oswego on a map, you look at the entire Portland metropolitan area, it's pretty centrally located. So I think Lake Oswego is probably, if you're looking at the checklist of amenities, it probably checks about as many boxes, if not more, than really anything else on our list.
Yeah, it's also bordered by I-5 on the west. And so I-5 obviously get south, get north. 217 feeds right into it, so you can hop on 217 from Cruise Way and get up into Beaverton. Tigard is just to the east, so a lot of these different suburbs and areas where you might want to get to, including downtown Portland. Again, just very accessible. So yeah, I mean, there's a reason why such a big area is so high on this list.
All right, next on the list, how about Eastmoreland? And now we're hopping back over again to the east side.
Yeah, Eastmoreland, one of the kind of the most sneaky nice areas in Portland, I'd say. It's on the south side of southeast Portland, and to the west you are bordered by Westmoreland and the Eastmoreland golf course, and then just east of it you have like this Woodstock neighborhood. Reed College is right there, so you have these big areas, properties kind of surrounding or encompassing Eastmoreland that make it very private, in particular for kind of an urban residential neighborhood. I would say the closest comparison to this neighborhood is probably Laurelhurst, but you are more removed from the city and more removed from some of the issues that Laurelhurst has. And again, you're right there on the golf course. You have Selwood and Westmoreland, so one of the most desirable areas to go hang out, get dinner, get lunch, get drinks, that kind of thing. Reed College campus is beautiful. And then Woodstock on the other side of Eastmoreland is another popular little district to go out and hang out.
Yeah, and the golf course too, that's a good point. Actually probably about half of the towns or neighborhoods that we have on our list have a golf course or are right on a golf course. West Linn, like Oswego does. Yeah,
common theme.
Yeah, pretty common theme.
Raleigh Hills is Portland Golf Club.
Right, Portland Golf Club, yeah. So, if you're a golfer, a lot of these areas will probably be pretty attractive to you. Yeah,
so Eastmoreland, $967,000 median sale price, $342 price per square foot. So, bigger homes, you can definitely get a decent amount of house for your money, but you're not going to find a ton of homes that are going to be much less than that median sale price. All right, next on the list, a couple of areas that we're just going to bundle together. These are areas that are back up behind downtown Portland, so in the West Hills, but so close to the city that depending on where your street is, you could walk down into the city, go hang out, go shopping, grab dinner, all that stuff. So we have Kings Heights and Hillside, which are up above the Northwest District, Nob Hill, so that's north of Burnside and bordered by Forest Park. Beautiful old homes. I mean, some of the most iconic real estate and houses in the city of Portland, along with Arlington Heights, which is very similar, just to the south of Burnside and bordered by Washington Park. You also have Goose Hollow right there, so you can, again, walk down, go to the Portland Timbers games. It's right there, just up on the hill above there. Hillside and Kings Heights, about $1 million median sale price, and then Arlington Heights, $1.6 million median sale price. So you'll get a lot of consistency in this area. Arlington Heights is a little bit smaller. There's probably only about 50 or 75 homes in there. Kings Heights, Hillside is a little bit bigger, but either way, I mean, these are homes that you can see really if you're like anywhere in the city, downtown, or driving across some of the bridges, and you can see up on the hill, up above downtown, you can see all these houses. And again, it's just iconic areas, really tiny, narrow streets that kind of wind together. So it's not like...
This is another spot where you're kind of just getting off the grid, like all those, like block streets.
Yeah.
Because you're getting up in the hills, so lots of windy streets,
yeah,
which I like.
Yeah, just back behind downtown, you have this rapid elevation change, and these streets wind up. Again, they're super narrow. I mean, it's really not convenient. There's no sidewalks, but the views that you can get up there, I mean, priceless. You know,
some of the best views in Portland,
yeah, it's the most sought after views you can get, because you know, you can see all the way east, you know, to Mount Hood. You can see Mount St. Helens up to the north, but immediately in front of you, you see downtown Portland, the east side of Portland. You see the river. So again, just, you know, some of like the most epic and iconic real estate in Portland, but yeah, might not be for everybody, but it's beautiful up there.
If you ever see a picture online facing east, so facing towards Mount Hood, with Portland in front of you, so as Portland kind of as the backdrop of the photo, and then Mount Hood just behind that, it was probably taken from this area that we're talking about, most likely from Pittock Mansion. Pittock Mansion is probably one of the most famous pieces of real estate in the state of Oregon. It is a mansion, as the name sort of implies, and it's got an incredible view, just like a lot of other places do up on the hill. But a lot of people, because it's not private property, people will go up there to take pictures, especially sunrise pictures too. Great spot for a sunrise picture, especially at the time of the year where you can get the sun kind of coming up right behind Mount Hood there. Also makes me think too is, you know, one thing about that area that is, you know, if this tells you anything, it is an area that a lot of professional athletes here in Portland, such as the Portland Trailblazers, choose to live. Sort of similar to Lake Oswego, another popular spot for athletes. So a highly desirable area that if you aren't hindered too much by budget, that's where a lot of people that come from out of the state, like I said, such as professional athletes, choose to live, because you are so close to Portland. You're not like right downtown, but you're just right on the edge in the hills. So you get this view of Portland, but just right outside of Portland. Like Paul was saying, it's kind of off that grid too. So you're kind of back up in the hills with those windy roads. So it kind of makes you feel like you're a little bit more isolated, a little bit further away from downtown Portland, but it's just right there. So great location. Yeah,
I mean, if status is important too, I mean, you know, this is a place that there's definitely like pride of ownership.
Right.
Because
I live in the West Hills.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, probably some of the oldest money, you know, the original kind of, you know, aristocratic class, you know, when Portland was really developing, I mean, these were their houses. And, you know, you're getting houses built in, you know, 1920, 1900, back into the 1880s up here. And there are homes kind of smattered throughout that are on lots where a house was torn down, and that you have more modern or newer houses in some spots, but a lot of these are old historic homes, which are really cool. So yeah, it's a great little area.
Next on our list is a really small area called Waverly, which is part of Milwaukee, sort of like North Milwaukee, right on the Willamette River. If that name is familiar to you, it might be because there's a country club called Waverly Country Club right there on the Willamette River. So there's not too many houses in this neighborhood. It's an older demographic. It was actually, I think we included this on our video for top retirement places throughout Portland. You can watch that one here. So you're going to find an older demographic in Waverly. The average median sale price for the past year was $1.48 million, and the average price per square foot was $333 per square foot. Sort of similar to a few of the last neighborhoods that we were just talking about, in that you're going to find a lot of older homes, a lot of old, very large homes, lots of 5,000-6,000 square foot homes. Not the typical type of homes you would find with an older demographic. Usually people want something a little bit smaller, less maintenance, you know, one level. But you know, for the person that still wants that bigger home and wants a quieter, but what's kind of considered more of an active neighborhood, especially if you want to be a part of the country club, Waverly is a good spot.
Yeah, Waverly's set right on the river, and you're bordered by the country club, so it's very private, very exclusive. You're really right in between Selwood, which very popular neighborhood, really popular place to hang out, and then Milwaukee on the other side, so downtown Milwaukee. So you're right there on the river. You have access to a lot of things, but it's going to be hard to find a house in there because it is such a small little area.
Yeah, I think there was 6 houses sold in that area last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Quiet area, I would say too. You know, Milwaukee's not a super busy area, not a lot of traffic coming through Milwaukee, you know, people going here to there. So Waverly's definitely sort of a quiet, it feels like it's a little bit on an island, but if you look at it on a map, it's really not. You know, it's really close to everything. It's kind of really in the thick of things, but because of being next to the country club and there's not a whole lot of traffic. There's not a whole lot. You'd have to go north to Selwood or sort of south to like in Milwaukee to find amenities and restaurants and stuff like that. So you don't get a whole lot of people going through there. So pretty quiet, nice area.
Yeah, and if joining a country club is an aspiration when you move to Portland, I think, you know, Waverly is probably the most exclusive country club in the Portland area. So if that's something that tickles your fancy, I mean, looking for a house around Waverly, you know, it could be a good idea.
Yeah. All right, next on our list. This area, we're actually going to combine a couple of areas because they're so similar and they're right next to each other, same school district, which is the area that we're in right now. We are in Stafford, and there's an area, and if you look at on a map, Stafford's probably going to show up north of I-205. And Stafford runs from Lake Oswego to Wilsonville. But the area I'm referring to is right next to an area called Pete's Mountain. If you look at South Stafford Road, which is south of 205, south of where it probably says Stafford on a map, and you take that road and then you kind of look east to it, there's going to be Mountain Road and then Schaefer Road, which run into Pete's Mountain Road. That entire kind of area right there, just south of Stafford and southwest to a place called Pete's Mountain, is going to be one of the most expensive places in Oregon. And what you're going to find there is a lot of acreage, a lot of properties that are on 2, 3, 5 acres, sometimes 10 acres, a lot of equestrian properties. The average sale price for that area is $1.85 million. And the average price per square foot is $390 per square foot. So this area, all in Wilsonville School District, you might find a few little slivers that are Westland School District, but since it's all in the same school district, and because Stafford and Pete's Mountain are just right next to each other, it really kind of feels like the same area. If you look it up online, Pete's Mountain is going to be West Linn, and you're not going to find homes like on Zillow just by searching Pete's Mountain. So if you are interested in that kind of area, Stafford, Pete's Mountain, and kind of how to navigate that area, you'll want to get in touch with us. But we'll put up a little graphic so you can kind of better understand what that area looks like. But if you're somebody that's looking for acreage, especially equestrian properties, this is going to be one of the top spots in the Portland metropolitan area to find a larger home. There's a lot of 4, 5, 6, 7,000 square foot homes in this area that are on 2, 3, 4, 5 acres. Yeah,
Stafford's really cool. I think they call it a hamlet.
Right.
So it's an unincorporated area, but on the north side you have kind of the border of Lake Oswego and then down into West Linn. On the south side you have the border of Wilsonville. On the west side you have the border of Tualatin. So you have access into a lot of different suburbs, but this whole pocket is really rural, so it has a really interesting, unique,
super rural.
Yeah, really interesting dynamic for being, you know, right in between all of these suburbs and really kind of properly, you know, right in the middle of kind of the south side of the Portland metro area, but just totally underdeveloped. You got wineries, you got equestrian properties like Seth's talking about, farmland. So it's
the Oregon Golf Club is there as well too. So another golf course for you. One of the top golf courses in the state of Oregon too is also in that area. And also too, I would say this. I mean, I don't want to blow up anybody's spot, but somebody from your college, football player, is building a house out there right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to drop any names, but there are also a handful of athletes that also like to build out in Stafford. You know, again, people that typically want to have a couple of acres. And then one more little thing about that area. Little trivia for you.
Yeah.
The most expensive listing in the state right now is actually in that area.
Okay.
Do you happen to know what it is?
I feel like I've seen it. It's probably been listed for a long time.
It's been on and off the market a ton.
It's like 24 million or something.
It's a property that was actually never finished.
Right. That's right.
So
yeah, okay. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so it's right on the southern kind of most part of West Linn, of the Pete's Mountain area, right on the Willamette River. It's got a great spot on the Willamette River. It was known for a long time as the Hollywood House.
Oh, right.
Because
Hollywood Video founder,
exactly.
yeah.
Yep. The founder of Hollywood Video built this house that was somewhere, I think, in the neighborhood of 40,000 square feet. And then, you know, we all know what happened to Hollywood Video and Blockbuster Video. If you don't know what Hollywood Video is, if you're not from the Pacific Northwest, because I think that's, you know, the only place that has locations.
Regional.
Yeah. It's just it's a Blockbuster. You know, how they opened up so many chains and did as well as Blockbuster, I don't really know, but it was the exact same thing. And
video rentals not doing so hot.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Last Blockbuster in the world, actually, or the country, whatever, is, you know, actually also in Oregon. Little trivia for you there.
Yeah.
But,
right there in Bend.
So that is currently on the market, and I believe there's a builder that's working on finishing it. It's listed right now at 42 million.
42. Oh, not 24. Maybe that's my
42.
My dyslexia is kicking in.
Yeah, it's listed at 42. It's been on and off the market forever. I think somebody finally bought it about a year ago. I think auction. I think it was actually sold at auction, and are now finally finishing it. They've got it on the market trying to sell it. But incredible piece of property. I don't know how many acres it was. It's like 5 or 10 acres right on the Willamette River. You don't have any neighbors, you know. I don't know what you're gonna do with 40,000 square feet, but yeah, there's also another listing too in that area. It's 15 million right now, so that's probably one of the most expensive listings in the Portland metropolitan area as well. I think that's probably 10 or 11,000 square feet. Same thing. It's been on the market for a long time. Yeah,
Stafford's about the most unique area, I think, overall, just because it is so rural. There is so much land. I think zoning probably can make it hard to build. That would make a lot of sense, you know, if you look at kind of the current makeup and what's surrounding it. But you see property for sale, you see homes for sale, generally very expensive. And I think, what'd you say, about 1.8 on average?
Yeah, the last 12 months, kind of the Peets Mountain Stafford area that I looked at came out to an average of about 1.85 million. All right, last on our list, one of my favorite spots, actually.
Yeah. It's great.
I used to sometimes just, you know, do you ever go on a Sunday drive?
Yeah, sure.
Before we had kids and businesses, right, when we had a little bit more free time.
Yeah.
Me and the wife used to go on a Sunday drive occasionally, and that was one of the places that we would drive just because I love that neighborhood. I love those houses so much. And she wasn't familiar with it, so I would just take her through there, and we would just kind of, you know, be in awe of these massive, older, so unique. They're all so, you know, all these houses are so unique. Just incredible neighborhood.
We're talking about Dunthorpe, and Dunthorpe comes in at a median sale price of 1.9 million, average price per square foot $410. So it's expensive. The price per square foot is higher, you know, than a lot of the areas that we've talked about. And so you're not getting the biggest houses out there, but these are pretty big houses, I think, overall. I think most of these houses are over 3,000 square feet. A ton of 100-year-old houses. I think one of the most unique things about Dunthorpe is every house is completely different. And a lot of areas we've talked about, especially that have been developed in the last even 50 years, you have a ton of consistency down the line, and usually that is kind of a marker of, you know, a little bit of a nicer area. But in Dunthorpe, every house is totally unique. You get all kinds of different architectural styles. I think the common thread is that most of these houses are quite a bit older, and kind of like any area like this, you know, the older homes that weren't kept up as well, somebody bought it, tore it down, and built up something newer. You do see a little bit about bit of that there. But you're looking at an area that is just south of Southwest Portland. I think it's technically Southwest Portland. It's a Portland address. It's actually unincorporated Multnomah County. And I've heard that it's unincorporated because there's such a concentration of wealth there that their voting influence is too powerful. So I don't know how much truth there is to that, but just to the south of Dunthorpe is like downtown Lake Oswego. So you pop down the hill, you're in downtown Lake Oswego. Yeah. If you go north a little bit, you get up, you know, toward like South Burlingame, and then you can get up to OHSU and then into downtown Portland from this Dunthorpe area. But
great location.
Yeah, I mean,
quiet kind of area too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a little bit, you know, it has the markers of an older area as far as amenities. I don't know if you see a ton of parks in Dunthorpe, although, you know, there's parks that are very accessible. There's no sidewalks. You have really large lots,
Right.
all up and down the streets. All of the lots are kind of enclosed, typically by like hedges or some kind of vegetation. So the houses themselves are all kind of blocked off and private in that way.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, just some of the most stunning homes you can find in the Portland area.
Yeah, that's the feel, and that's why it was kind of cool to like take a Sunday drive there, is because that place, out of anywhere else in the Portland metropolitan area, you really just, like you said, you get a huge variety of different types of homes, like just houses that you won't see anywhere else. But if you're interested in learning more about some of the most expensive, the nicest, the most desirable neighborhoods in the Portland metropolitan area, you can call, text, or email. You can even schedule a Zoom with us by clicking the link below in the description. And if this video helped you, give us a thumbs up, make sure and subscribe so you'll see more videos like this. And if you tap the bell, you'll get notified each time we drop a new video, which is twice a week.
Hope this video is helpful. If you want to talk about these areas or maybe areas on the other end of the spectrum, we're happy to help. We work with everybody. So again, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel to get updated. And again, thanks again for watching. We'll talk to you later.
Take care, everyone.
All right.